What's up, guys? It's Ian from Forward Progress Madden. In this video I'm going to show you a scheme out of the New England Patriots offensive playbook. A lot of players are running this playbook this year, but they're primarily doing so out of the shotgun formations, and that's fine. The shotgun formations are great, but something that I've always tried to do is shed light on things that people ignore, didn't know existed, or simply may have missed when they're looking at a playbook. And what I think a lot of players are missing this year, especially New England, is one of the best single back doubles formations in the game. I know that the Giants have a very good one, but this Patriots one provides a completely different look, and I feel it's a very dangerous formation that you can use pretty much all game against most solid opponents. You could pretty much live in this formation. Quickly, I'm going to go through the audibles for this scheme. Why audibles, halfback draw, something you can use against coverage defense, pick up positive yardage on the ground. Halfback zone weak, I'll show you that one in detail. It's a very good run. Flanker middle, it's an unbumpable play. All the receivers and the tight end are unbumpable in this play. PA tight end screen and the slot screen. Notice I have the tight end screen, that's the screen to the right. That's our right bumper audible for easy access. LB is the slot screen, screen to the left. Again, left bumper, easy access. So let's go ahead and go into the play call screen here, and I'm going to show you the personnel I want to use. We're using the Lions, and you would think immediately, well, for this offense we should use Jabba Best, he's the best player. But in fact, that is not what we're going to do. We're actually going to use Mikel LaSure. He's a bit more of a controlled back, easier to maneuver in the run game between the tackles, doesn't feel as loose as a Jabba Best, not as prone to trip and fall over linemen, and in the screen game he's going to really help as well. So we're going to use Mikel LaSure here. Calvin Johnson, of course, is the flanker. Here we're going to place Tony Scheffler. Scheffler is a big body. If you get matched up against a small corner, it's a mismatch. And he's also going to help in the screen game. And here in this slot, we're going to use Titus Young Sr. He's obviously one of the quicker, shiftier guys, more prone to play the slot. And of course, we got Pettigrew at the tight end position. So let's go ahead and get into what our base play is. The play I like to use as a base play is goal line fade. And quickly, the reason I like to use this play is because if my opponent calls a cover 1 or cover 0 blitz with man coverage, more often than not, we're going to be able to hit them very deep. And the reason is, coming out in the play, let's go ahead and call bump and run. Notice Calvin Johnson's split compared to the tight end here. He's a little bit closer. Just to show you, I'm going to audible out to the quick pass audible, and notice how Calvin actually widens out his split. So basically this is a different alignment in this formation, and for some reason when your opponent is in press coverage, let's go ahead and back the ball up just to show you. Back it up about 65 yards or so from the end zone. If they're in press coverage, you can hit them up top for big yardage because Calvin Johnson is unbumpable. Assuming we get the ball out, of course. Let's go ahead and show you again here. This player, edge sting, is one of the better blitzes in the game. So right here, just to show you the separation, Calvin Johnson does get unbumpable, gets good separation, and of course he's a mismatch for any corner. The more aware corners will stay closer to him like Tillman did there, but a bad corner will get beat by 5, sometimes even 10 yards with this fade. So all you simply have to do is audible him from his fade to from the fade that we saw last year to the fade that is now in the game this year. Okay, so that is our base play. You can use it if you want to, totally up to you. Otherwise, I'll show you the other plays in the scheme. What I want to come out in is the goal line fade, like I said, but let's go ahead and look at a couple other plays that you can come out in as a base. One being Z-spot. The reason I like Z-spot is because this route by Titus Young is very shallow. It's tough for man coverage to pick up. I simply just motion him in and throw it. And notice how Briggs is well off of him. If we audible into press coverage, like say they come out in a dime, right here we'll come out in dime, and I'll show you. They call two-man under impress. Z-spot still will be unbumpable, and even with the press coverage, they won't play close enough to defend it with the motion. So we take Calvin Johnson off his auto motion, just put him on a streak, motion young senior in a couple steps, snap it, and just throw it a little bit early. And notice how he's underneath, breaks the tackle, and you have yak potential, yards after catch. Other nice routes on this play are Pettigrew on his corner route. Depending on the alignment of his man, he may or may not get open. Typically, if the man is heads up or inside, you will see the corner get open. Pretty easy throw, just pass lead down and outside. Everyone knows corners work. And you also have the check down to LeSure out of the backfield. He's also motionable. Depending on the zone coverage, sometimes you can hike throw that, but the main two routes on this play are the corner and the short hitch route here in the slot. Moving on, let's look at some other plays. Say your opponent comes out in dime and they're running a lot of coverage defense. And let's say that they are jamming the absolute bejesus out of you. You cannot get Calvin Johnson. Somehow the goal line fade base play is not working and you just can't get off the jam. Because we know how Madden is. Sometimes plays just shut your play down. So what we've got here is a play where all 4 receiver options on the field are unbumpable. As you can see, we've got X, Y, A, and B all unbumpable on their routes. We'll go ahead and just snap the ball and I'll show you. And that is what we're looking for right there. Titus Young on this wheel route gets almost a separation like last year in Madden 12 on fades. The reason is when he cuts inside, he has a higher agility, and pretty much that's what creates the separation here. Kelvin Hayden's a bit slower. This cut inside is very sharp, gets separation. Even if a more agile corner is on him, you can still throw this and throw with a pass lead to the inside and use or catch it. So pretty easy throw. Go back to the replay here and let's look at some other receivers. Tony Scheffler, also unbumpable, as you notice that Tim Jennings does not get a jam on him. Calvin Johnson is also unbumpable, as he actually leaves Charles Tillman well behind him. Then also, of course, you have the tight end Brandon Pettigrew, who is also unbumpable. He's on a delay route here, but if you wanted to, you could place him on a fade out of his position as the tight end, and he will be open for an easy pass lead to the inside, assuming that the DB is left to the outside. So we'll go ahead and show you the other throws you can make here. Calvin Johnson also gets open. The pass gets swatted down. Separation that Johnson gets is very nice to have. You can block Pettigrew, and we'll show you here. And actually, Pettigrew's man stays in coverage, but his back is turned and can't defend it. But Calvin Johnson does get open over the middle. Very easy throw. Almost like the video I did on comeback Z post. It's a very similar route. It's just a dig and not a post. So, very good play, FL middle. It's your play to go to when you cannot beat press coverage. Now, let's get into some of the run plays. If your opponent is coming out in coverage-based defense, such as dime 2-man under, you typically will see players go with dime 2-man under, press coverage, and then they place their defensive ends in buzz zones just to protect kind of the short outside area. Basically, they're going to play from the curl to the flat on the outside, but they're also just going to drop into this area right off the bat. So the seams are covered as soon as you can't. Basically, when you snap the ball, you can't hike throw to the seam. So very difficult to throw on if you're facing a high man coverage team. So this is where you need the halfback draw. And this is why we go to a more controlled back like LeSure. The reason being, when you run the draw, you want somebody who is controlled and you can follow your blockers. A Javid Best, for instance, a little bit smaller, too quick, can't stay behind his blockers very long, and he's fragile. If he gets hit, he falls over. A guy like LeSure, a little bit bigger, can follow his blockers, take a little bit of contact. So that's nice to have that. Now, the other play that we have is the zone weak. And this is what the zone weak looks like here. What we're always going to do is flip the run to the strong side of the formation, the tight end side. And we're going to read the guard, the right guard. We're going to look at which shoulder is covered. If the right shoulder is covered, you can expect a double team of the right guard and the right tackle. And basically you'll just follow the blockers as they peel off to the second tier. So see here as we get that guard tackle double team, the right guard peels off to pick up the linebacker, and we cut inside of the double team. Now let's say the formation is flipped on defense, and now the left shoulder of the guard is double teamed. Flip the run to the strong side, and we notice that we're going to have a center right guard double team. So you're basically going to have the different linemen double team there. And that's what's great about this inside zone, is that you can, based off of whoever is covering the right guard, you can predict how the blocking is going to be set up, and that's what's great. It's the worst feeling when you have a run play, but you don't know who exactly is going to block who on a given down. This play is a bit more predictable, helps you dictate the pace of the game, and that's something I've always preached. You have to dictate the pace of the game, keep your opponent off guard rather than them having you off guard. So now let's go ahead and get into what I think is one of the big time draws for this formation, the screen game. So let's go ahead and come out. I'm just going to come out into play since I have the Audibles set here. Let's say that your opponent's running some sort of nickel and they're running like cover 3, and they have been blitzing one side or blitzing the other side, or even dropping everybody into coverage. It is great to have these LB and RB audibles. You have a screen to both sides of the field. And what we're going to do is simply, based off of the screen, you're just going to block the running back to that side to help protect the quarterback, and you can throw to the player on the screen pass. Hopefully you can follow your blocks afterwards as well. Right there, we see something. So let's look at this replay, and we see that we have trouble picking up this player all the way on the outside in the flat. So what can we do to fix that? Well, the same look, all we're going to do instead of blocking the running back is throw him out in the slot. What this is going to do, it's going to help stretch the zone out, allowing us to throw inside, and hopefully we get a good catch animation. If you have a more agile receiver, feel free to sub him in at the tight end if your league allows you to do so, and you can catch and run afterwards. So here, we catch it, and Pettigrew's a bit slow for this, so feel free, like I said, to sub. But as we can see, LeSure goes all the way out and stretches out the play and keeps that flat set. Hopefully our right tackle would pick him up. I believe that's actually our right guard. Yeah, our right guard should pick up this guy here. But that is the way you run this play. Another thing you can do, and this goes for both sides of the formation, if your opponent is usering, say they're usering, to simulate this, since I don't have 4 hands, I'm going to go ahead and put right on Pettigrew, and that's going to simulate a user defending the tight end on this screen. You basically have an option. You can throw the screen to the running back or the tight end. So as you're going to see here, we throw the screen to the tight end and follow our blockers. We threw it a bit too late there, I believe. What we want to do ultimately is try to get the running back behind his blockers. So right here, we'll just go ahead and try this again. And that is something that you can run into. What we see here is that the defensive end is jumping the screen. He recognizes the screen and he's staying home. He kind of widens out his rush. And what you can do to get rid of that is simply just go ahead and put the tight end on an actual route, which will inactivate the ability for the defensive end to recognize the screen. And now this is simply just a running back screen. Snap the ball, hike, throw it out in the flat, and follow your blockers. Right here, if you want to, you can try to put in a faster running back to try to get you that yards after the catch ability. LeSure doesn't have breakaway speed. Best does, but the risk you run with Best is that he will outrun his blockers. So totally up to you. If you're just having a lot of trouble like we seem to be right now, and you know it's zone, adding a player to the mix is something that you can do as well. Basically somebody who helps run off the coverage and just adds blockers to the mix. And basically what we've got here is the primary read is we want to throw to the tight end. Ultimately, that's what you're going to do. You can motion the running back out to help create space for yourself and follow your blockers for short yardage over the middle. And then likewise on this side, you've got the same thing. Snap the ball, the slot, throw it to him, follow your blockers. And you have the same ability here to the running back. So hike, throw the ball out in the flat, follow your blockers. As you can see, the screen to the running back is a little bit more effective because you have this split in Tony Scheffler staying in to block. And what he does is he's basically just going to block down on a nickel back, an outside linebacker, or a strong safety down in the box. Helps you get that edge and get outside. So, as well as the fact that you have this pitch to the running back. Notice how Stafford basically does a shovel pass out to the flat, as opposed to in this play where you want to throw it to the running back. You don't really have that option, as you're really going to have to rely on a yards after the catch basis with this play. So the best bet when throwing to the right is basically just to stretch out the zone with the running back and then throw back to the tight end and follow your blockers. Of course, a cover 3, you're going to have more zones underneath than, say, like a cover 4, which a lot of players will run a cover 4. So this is going to be very good against players who like to run a cover 4 coverage D, where they drop linemen. So I'll go ahead and show you that that is something that you can run this against. So say they call like a cover 4. You have this same ability to basically get the yards after the catch and still have the ability to throw to the tight end. If they play down on the running back, you can still throw to the tight end. Like I said, I don't have 4 arms, but trying to simulate that for you guys. Basically, just assume that they're playing on the running back. You throw it inside to the tight end, and now you basically can cut inside or outside based off your blocking. The nice part is that when you throw it, the tight end will help block for the running back, or the running back will now help block for the tight end. Likewise on this side, you throw it to the slot, the running back is added blocking. If you throw it to the running back, the slot is added blocking. So something you have nice there. That's not the only way you can beat zone. Something else you can do, of course, as we all know, is the inside pass leads. Just let them get over the linebacking tier versus zone and throw an inside pass lead. And then, of course, one of my favorite things to do this year is to throw the out route. You have this deep out route, let him run off his coverage. As soon as he makes the outward break, throw it to the outside. Of course, you need something to occupy a purple zone. So what you do if somebody's throwing a purple zone like they did there is basically just put a flat threat, because purple zones play curl to flat. If they see a flat threat develop, they will play down on it. So Urlacher played the out route last time. This time he's going to play LeSure in the flat. So just to show you, gives the out route all the room he needs to make this catch. So if you're trying to throw out routes but people put buzz zones there, simply just put a flat threat on that side and it will help develop the out route. As you see, Urlacher jumps down, gives Calvin Johnson all the room he needs to make this out route. So that is the single back double scheme out of the New England playbook. If you guys enjoy that, feel free to add it to your scheme. You don't have to use all 5 audibles out of this formation, but I'm just showing you that it's something you can beat any coverage, blitz with press, man coverage, coverage defense where they're dropping 10 with press, zone blitz, a balanced defense. This formation is built to beat anything that is thrown your way. Of course, you still have to make the reads. So let me know how this goes for you guys, and I will see you next time. Thanks.